Have you ever thought about a people who carved palaces out of mountains, who would proudly say, "Who is stronger than us?" But when Allah's command came from the sky, those very palaces were buried beneath the ground. After Prophet Nuh, another people arose, the people of Ad. They lived in a region between Yemen and Oman, in the desert of Al-Akhaf. Their city was called Iram of the Pillars, a city of columns whose towers seemed to speak to the sky. Their bodies were strong like mountains, their height seemed to touch the clouds, and their arrogance could pierce the heavens. They would say, "We are the inheritors of this land, we shall live forever." Their settlements in the sands of Al-Akhaf stretched far and wide. The sound of their horses' hooves shook the earth. At night, their lamps shone brightly for miles. It seemed their city was like a crown placed upon the land. In their gatherings and councils, they often said, "People like us will never be born again." Even their children at a young age would lift heavy stones to show their strength. The elders proudly said, "Our children too will bow mountains." The people of Ad had another strange belief. They thought the wind was their servant. Their young men would stand in the valleys, raise their hands and laugh, saying, "Look, even the wind obeys our bodies." The elders would say proudly, "Our ancestors used to change the wind's direction. Who can stop us?" When they saw a storm approaching from afar, they laughed and said, "The wind is on our side. It is not for us. It will strike our enemies." But they did not know that the very wind they considered their servant would one day become their greatest enemy. The people of Ad were not only tall, their bodies were many times larger than ordinary humans. Along the riverbanks, even today, huge footprints are found among the mountains, amazingly large for humans to see. Their house doors were so high that a horse with its rider could enter straight in. Their utensils were made of stone. A single vessel could cook the meal for an entire family. Time passed. Arrogance increased. Pride grew even stronger. Then Allah sent to them His Prophet, Hud sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "O my people, worship Allah alone. There is no deity worthy of worship besides Him." But they said, "Do you want us to abandon the religion of our forefathers? We are mighty. No one can touch us." Hud sallallahu alaihi wasallam said again, "I warn you of a punishment that you cannot even imagine." But hearts filled with pride turn advice into stone, shattering it. Hud sallallahu alaihi wasallam would stand daily in their markets, in front of palaces, at doors, calling them for the last time. Some laughed and said, "If your words had any power, our palaces would have shaken already." Some children mocked his voice. Some changed their path at his sight, as if the fear of Allah had not entered their eyes. One day he went to their council, where the leaders sat on golden thrones. He said, "See the signs of Allah's power. Your strength is nothing." But they laughed. "Stop this little scare. If a punishment comes, we will face it with our strength." A few days before the punishment, something strange happened in the valley of Al-Akhaf. At night, a deep sound was heard from the sky. No thunder, no lightning, yet it felt like someone was calling from afar. The people of Ad said, "It is the sound of the mountains." Hud sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "This is not a call of mercy, it is a warning." The next night, the ground trembled lightly, so lightly that only the animals were unsettled. People laughed and said, "Look, even the earth fears our strength." But they did not know that this was the earth's final protest. Then came Allah's decree. First came the drought. Not a single drop of rain fell for 3 years. Rivers dried up, wells cracked, the ground became as hard as stone. People looked toward the sky. When will the rain come? But the sky answered with silence. In the first year, they said, this is just a minor problem. In the second year, thirst parched their tongues. Empty jars struck the walls. Animals collapsed from thirst. In the third year, the laughter, pride, and roaring of the people of Ad all disappeared from the land. When they came to Hud sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did not cry. He only said, now the time of punishment is very near. One day, 3 clouds appeared in the sky, one red, one white, one black. A messenger called from the sky, O people of Ad, choose a cloud. Their leaders laughed and said, take the black cloud, it has water, it has mercy. But they did not know that that cloud held not mercy, but destruction. The sky turned black, the wind became icy cold. People started dancing, look, the rain has come. But it was not water, it was the storm of punishment. The first strike, dust and stones flew. The second strike, trees uprooted, animals lifted. The third strike, people were thrown into the air. The palaces that once reached the skies now collapsed under the sand. The storm raged for 7 nights and 8 days. When the wind stopped, only silence remained. A sea of sand and empty bodies like fallen date trees. But those who believed with Hud sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah protected them and gave them shelter in a mountain cave. Hud sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed, O my Lord, you are the most merciful. Keep us steadfast on your path. When he looked at the destroyed city, tears filled his eyes. These were the people who once said, who is stronger than us? Today, there is no trace of them. Hud sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the outcome of arrogance is always destruction, and disobedience to Allah brings total ruin. Even today, beneath the sands of Al-Ahqaf, the city of Iram lies buried as a testimony. It declares, honor does not come from power or pride, but only from obedience to Allah. If you enjoyed this Quranic story, like this video. Write in the comments, which people's story do you want to see in the next episode? And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. This is not just a story, it is a reality, reminding us, when humans drown in arrogance, spread oppression and injustice, Allah wipes them away.